Yes.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. If our city manager, not city manager, our city attorney. All right, we're going to go ahead and open up the Seminole Airport Authority. Can we have a roll call, please, Jay?
Larry Church.
Here.
Trace Connor. Here. Dana Miller. Chris Anson. Here. Scott Rossman.
Here.
John Kramer. Jolene Doucette.
Here.
Jeff Nance.
Here.
Corey Crabtree.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, consideration and action of consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second. Roll call, please, Jay.
Larry Church.
Yes.
Trace Connor.
Yes.
Chris Anson.
Yes.
Scott Rossman.
Yes.
Jolene Doucette.
Yes.
Jeff Nance.
Yes.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, with no items removed from the consent agenda and with no appearances or petitions from the audience, actually, I don't know that. Is there a list back there yet, a sign-in sheet? Thank you. I'm going to assume these are, well, one of these is a presentation, but Jay, yours for council, regular city council, okay, thanks. All right, with no appearances or petitions, we need a motion for adjournment.
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. Okay, moving on to the Seminole Gas Authority. Can we have a roll call, please, Jay?
John Kramer. Chris Anson.
Here.
Jolene Doucette.
Here.
Dana Miller. Scott Rossman.
Here.
Jeff Nance.
Here.
Trace Connor.
Here.
Larry Church.
Here.
Corey Crabtree.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, consideration and action of consent agenda.
Approve.
Second.
Roll call, please, Jay.
Chris Anson.
Yes.
Jolene Doucette.
Yes.
Scott Rossman.
Yes.
Jeff Nance.
Yes.
Trace Connor.
Yes.
Larry Church.
Yes.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, with no items removed from the consent agenda and no appearances or petitions from the audience, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. All right, moving on to the Seminole Medical Authority. Can we have a roll call, please, Jay?
Chris Anson.
Here.
Trace Connor.
Here.
John Kramer. Jolene Doucette.
Here.
Larry Church.
Here.
Scott Rossman.
Here.
Dana Miller. Jeff Nance.
Here.
Corey Crabtree.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, with no appearances or petitions from the audience, we'll move on to current business. Item 1, consideration and possible action to approve a deed of conveyance of a certain tract of real property to HCL Investments LLC as previously approved by the city council. The authority will receive a larger tract of real property adjacent to its facility on John Street as consideration for the transaction.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Chris Anson.
Yes.
Trace Connor.
Yes.
Jolene Doucette.
Yes.
Larry Church.
Yes.
Scott Rossman.
Yes.
Jeff Nance.
Yes.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, with no other items on the agenda, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. All right, moving on to the Seminole Utilities Authority. Can we have a roll call for this one, please, Jay?
Dana Miller. Larry Church.
Here.
Chris Anson.
Here.
John Kramer. Jolene Doucette.
Here.
Jeff Nance.
Here.
Scott Rossman.
Here.
Trace Connor.
Here.
Corey Crabtree.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, consideration and action of consent agenda.
Motion to approve. Second.
You got that, Jay?
Yes, thank
All right,
you.
can we have a roll call?
Larry Church.
Yes.
Chris Anson.
Yes.
Jolene Doucette.
Yes.
Jeff Nance.
Yes.
Scott Rossman.
Yes.
Trace Connor.
Yes.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, with no items removed from the consent agenda, and we have no appearances or petitions from the audience, we'll move on to approvals and acceptances. Under bids, item 1, consideration and possible action to approve the low bids of $371,778 from Matthews Trenching for the earthwork and $337,000 from PCC for the concrete for the Family Entertainment Center construction project as recommended by project manager Miller Turpins and city staff. You ready to roll?
We're ready.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please, Jake.
Larry Church.
Yes.
Chris Anson.
Yes.
Jolene Doucette.
Yes.
Jeff Nance.
Yes.
Scott Rossman,
Yes.
Trace Connor,
Yes.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, with no other items, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. All right, moving on to the Seminole Municipal Authority. Can you have a roll call for this one, please, Jay?
Trace Connor,
Here.
Dana Miller, Larry Church.
Here.
Scott Rossman,
Here.
Chris Anson,
Here.
Jolene Doucette, Jeff Nance,
Here.
John Kramer, Corey Crabtree.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, consideration and action of consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please, Jay.
Trace Connor,
Yes.
Larry Church.
Yes.
Scott Rossman,
Yes.
Chris Anson,
Yes.
Jolene Doucette,
Yes.
Jeff Nance.
Yes.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, with no items removed from the consent agenda and no appearances or petitions from the audience, we'll move on to current business. Item 1, consideration and possible action to approve Crosslane invoice number 9 and draw funds in the amount of $1,589,071.84 for work completed at the Seminole wastewater treatment plant.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please, Jay.
Trace Connor,
Yes.
Larry Church.
Yes.
Scott Rossman,
Yes.
Chris Anson,
Yes.
Jolene Doucette,
Yes.
Jeff Nance,
Yes.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, item 2, consideration and possible action to approve Wall Engineering invoice number 18 in the amount of $27,265.70 for work completed at the Seminole wastewater treatment plant.
Move to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please, Jay.
Trace Connor,
Yes.
Larry Church,
Yes.
Scott Rossman,
Yes.
Chris Anson,
Yes.
Jolene Doucette,
Yes.
Jeff Nance,
Yes.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, and there is an addendum on this one, so we'll move on to current business, which is in item 3. Consideration and possible action to approve the agreement for professional services with Wall Engineering LLC for the AMI meter replacement project.
So, okay. One of the things that we've been extremely successful with our grants is having the engineering done in advance of when funds are available. In this case, we know that the Oklahoma Water Resources Board is going to have a $800,000 forgivable loan, and then we're going to consider in our budget in just a little bit whether or not to take out a loan that would complete the automated meter reading system. So we're asking that we approve Brandon Wall to go ahead and do the engineering because we know that that's going to get us more points in the deal and speed up the process. So we're asking permission from the council if we can hire the engineering to be done.
What all has to be done on that? Just re-verify how many meters we have, what kind of meters in each spot? What do they do on that? Just curious.
Well,
The meters are there, I just,
exactly.
Curious what all
This
that-
is a requirement by the Water Resources Board that it be engineered. In our opinion, we're more than capable to replace the meters, and the companies that bring the meters to us are certainly more capable, but they want the engineer to be there to make sure it's done properly.
Motion to approve.
Second.
roll call, please, Jay.
Trace Connor,
Yes.
Larry Church,
Yes.
Scott Rossman,
Yes.
Chris Anson,
Yes.
Jolene Doucette,
Yes.
Jeff Nance,
Yes.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, moving on to resolutions. Item 4, consideration and possible action to approve resolution number SMA 2025-01, a resolution agreeing to file application with the Oklahoma Water Resources Board, the OWRB, for financial assistance through the Drinking Water Safe Revolving Fund Loan Program, with the loan proceeds being for the purpose of acquiring, constructing, equipping, and installing an automated reader system for the authority's water system, approving a legal services agreement and financial advisory agreement with respect to the aforesaid automated meter reading system project and containing other provisions related thereto.
well-read.
Explain what you just said.
Fortunately, I have a super special guest tonight with us. Chris Byram has been our lead bond attorney forever and ever. He's going to kind of break down for us a little bit about the OWRB program and especially with regard to the legal services that he will provide.
Absolutely. Chairman and trustees, some of you were on board a couple of years ago when we did the loan forgiveness for the sanitary sewer study project. This funding, we did that funding through the Clean Water SRF fund that the Water Board has. We will, for this project, we'll be utilizing the drinking water SRF side. They have a program that does loan forgiveness. Now, the tricky part with the drinking water is their requirements are a little tighter, and as Steve was alluding to a little while ago, they require an engineering report. And an engineering report that will involve us saying, showing that, hey, we don't have to do all the environmental studies that are required for this particular project. It would be different, obviously, we're running pipeline or something like that, but we're not, but you've got to have that engineering report that shows exactly what you're doing, and will also qualify for what the DEQ considers to be a categorical exemption. The contracts involved here are all contingent upon you all getting the funding. We're gonna do the application just like we did for the one we had approved a couple of years ago. If for whatever reason that funding does not come to fruition, we don't get the funds, legal services and the financial advisor, we don't get paid. It's all contingent upon you all getting the funding. The program is funded up to $800,000. You get that amount in loan forgiveness. And just like the previous loan forgiveness loan we had, you get the project done, and then once you sign off, the engineer signs off that you're done. If the OWRB is content that everything is done and completed as you said it would be, they sign loan forgiveness. I think, is Sharon here? Yeah, we got that from the OWRB, what, 2 weeks ago?
Yes.
We got the stamped copy saying loan forgiven, so that one's off the books. So, knock on wood, we get the funding, and then we also get our project done, we'll have that portion of it forgiven. Now, the balance of that, whatever the engineer comes up with for the balance that we need to borrow, that'll be at a low interest rate loan through their SRF loan program. So, Steve, did I miss anything?
Unless they have questions.
We've had this on the budget for years, so.
This resolution simply authorizes the various professionals to do submit the application. It doesn't authorize the borrowing of the money or anything. If we get approved for everything, just like with the prior funding, loan forgiveness, we'll come back and we'll have to have the city council approve it as the beneficiary, and we'll also have to have the municipal authority approve it as well. We actually go to borrow the money, even for the loan forgiveness portion, just like last time.
With this supermajority.
Yeah, they'll require a super majority for that on down the road. This one just requires a simple majority.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions or motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
All right, roll call please, Jay.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Trace Connor.
Yes.
Larry Church.
Yes.
Scott Rossman.
Yes.
Chris Anson.
Yes.
Jolene Doucette.
Yes.
Jeff Nance.
Yes.
Corey Crabtree.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, we do have an executive session on this one, but we're gonna recess this and do this at the end so that we don't expose these people to wait time. So we're gonna go ahead and recess the Seminole Municipal Authority and go ahead and open up the Seminole City Council meeting.
Take a motion to recess, if you would.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, last time? Thank you. All right, we're gonna move on to the Seminole City Council meeting. Can we have a roll call, please, Jeff?
Trace Connor. Here. Dana Miller. Larry Church.
Here.
Scott Rossman.
Here.
Chris Anson. Here.
Jolene Doucette,
Here.
Jeff Nance.
Here.
John Kramer, Corey Crabtree.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, we will stand for the pledge of allegiance. Jeff, do our favor and shoot it. Attention, salute, pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You back over, please. Father, I thank you for this day. I think it was time to come together as we try to make decisions for the betterment of our city. As you give us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of how to do things. For different backgrounds, God, please bring us together in one mind, in one accord, in one place. And Father, we give you praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right, moving on to consideration and action of consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Roll call, please, Jake.
Trace Connor,
Yes.
Larry Church,
Yes.
Scott Rossman,
Yes.
Chris Hansen,
Yes.
Jolene Doucette,
Yes.
Jeff Nance.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, with no items removed from the consent agenda, we will move on to appearances and petitions from the audience. Mr. J, you ready? It's hot here, don't take all night.
Come on.
We're timing it.
Can I give you all a folder real quick?
Sure, take it down.
Oh, there's no quiz up there. There is. Right on top.
Thank you.
I think I got all of it. With me, this all started last month with the flood issue. And so I came back and we talked about the flooding issue. And it kind of snowballed from there into all kinds of other issues. So what I put together here is kind of a list of what I've been doing this month, trying to get this resolved and see if we can get something going. I know this kind of looks lengthy, it's really not. But as you can see on that front page, those are all the responses that I did not get. Where people just want to return the calls, they want to return the emails. And then I don't know who some of these people are, but the fence that's on the house behind me, they came in and put up a wood fence. And it's around their yard was already fully fenced with the neighbors, but they put a privacy fence in, which now stops the water flow. So my back porch floods, and my neighbor's storm cellar floods in the winter. So we had asked to get something done with it. We did find out there was no permit issued for that fence. Then they're trying to pass it off that it was a repair. That they don't have to get a permit for a repair. That fence has never been there. I've lived there 53 years. That fence was not there. I've also talked to my neighbors, 5 of them, and between the 5 of us, we have 254 years on that street. So we know there was no fence at that property, ever. I don't really want the fence to come down if they can just cut the bottom foot off. It's already fenced all the way around, so they'd still have a fully fenced yard. It will have a water pole. So last time I talked to Amy, I don't know who Amy is. I asked her why she thought that was a repair. And I put it in yellow, it's kind of highlighted on the first page of yellow. The response I got, she stumbled around, and I asked why she thought it was a repair. She said it was only a few panels, to which I said, no, it was the entire yard. Her response then was, I don't have to tell you anything. I don't like that. No says that she get that response from the city employee. So I still have no answer. No one will return a call. No one will answer an email. So, then on the digging of the trench to allow the water to flow downhill like it's supposed to instead of uphill, on the other side of this, I was told to file a citizen complaint. So I did that. You'll see that on, where's an app to on the second page? And if you look at the second app, behind it, that's what the police brought over to me. And they both told me, this is not a criminal complaint, it's a city issue, the city knows it, why are they sending it to us? This is the report they brought me, and so there's really no way for you to fill it out, because this is not a criminal issue. So now here we are back again, where do you go from there? So the police actually went down to talk to Sharon, and back and said she was less than helpful. That was the police response. So, I don't know where to go from that. So then we started going to the last page, on June the 5th, Sharon and I started going through email. And if you look at the last two pages, you're gonna have copies of our emails. Her email to me, my response, back and forth, so forth. I'm sorry, the 2 pages before. So anyway, basically the first email says that she reached out to the drainage ditch owners of Brisso. They're aware and they'll try to do something when they can for it. And then, of course, my response was, thank you for going to email, so glad we found the email so it can be in writing. Also, thank you for the update. However, the answer is very vague. Will it be done before flooding season? It's kind of like you get a ticket or a bill, the response can't be when I get a report. So I asked if we could go back to them and say, can we get this has to be done by a certain date? Just get some kind of date, no response. Yeah, I called on the fence, go through that, and the polls. The rest of it is kind of boring. Then we go on to the next one, because I actually sent all these photos there to show what I was talking about. We got mattresses. They're sitting inside out front of houses, one's right across the street from us. And the response that I got was, oh, right in the trash pickup, small trash pickup. It's been there a year and a half. It's not a trash pickup. It's just there. Now, the other one actually moved there, so I don't know whether to talk to them. They moved it and a car to the backyard and took the fence down so you can see the backyard. So now as you drive by, you see the whole thing. Absolutely crazy. And then on the properties that need to be mowed, they did get on that. They, of course, the next couple of days, they have that done. On the June 2nd, I think they have to mow them. So the pictures that I sent are what's after they. The grass is taller than I am. You'll see in the picture. After they mowed. And so I'm like, I'm not a tall person, but I am taller than grass. So I'm trying to figure out why that is acceptable after they mow, to still have that way. Those are the problems that I'm having. I just feel like I can't get anywhere. I did see yesterday, which was kind of interesting, because one of the last responses on digging out that trench was a couple of years ago, it's in the email, sharing, that the mayor said that due to weather, they can wait a certain amount of time, so they don't tear up the yard. Yesterday, on my way to work, and I stopped and took pictures, I've got it. 1 block down, the city truck was there on the street with this huge crane type thing that digs out the dirt. Never had to get on it. Water just started flowing. They fixed that one. Why not this one? What's the weather have to do? Also, they said it was the weather because to mow the yards. But if the whole neighborhood is mowed at 2 of them, you can't tell me it's weather. So those are my problems, and the last page is just, it's 8 questions, and I know we can't answer them here, but if someone would respond to me on those 8 questions.
I didn't see my name on the list of people you called.
Don't raise your
Okay. Going to move on to presentations. And Steve, you want to do yours first?
I'm sorry?
You want to do your presentation first?
Sure. Well, we're here to publicly acknowledge something that I think we all already knew, and that is that we have a master court clerk, all right? But now, we've got it officially identified by the Oklahoma Municipal League and Oklahoma Municipal Court Clerks Association. Susie, if you could come up, please. She has the ultimate achievement as a court clerk. You are now a master court clerk. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Here's your pen. Beautiful, beautiful pen. Yeah, show the crowd. Yeah. Isn't that cool? One more round of applause for Susie.
All right, congratulations. And thank you for the hard work. We appreciate it. All right, moving on to our next presentation. Presentation discussion regarding safer alternatives to mosquito spraying by Ms. Miranda Cotton.
Good evening, everybody. I don't know if we got the slideshow up here.
Well, I know, it's not up.
I don't know.
She had to put her eyeballs on
Yeah. We had a little technical issues. I sent that to the wrong person, and he's not here tonight. I sent it to Sean by mistake instead of Sharon. So she just now got it when I got here earlier, so that's probably why we're having some technical difficulties.
it. Gotcha.
Well, I'll just go ahead and introduce myself while she's doing that. Most of you know me, but my name is Miranda Cotton. I am the current president of Seminole Arts Council, and I am the vice president of SCRIPT, which is our community garden that we've created. SCRIPT stands for Seminole Community Regenerative Initiative Permaculture Transformation. It's a long name, I know, that's why SCRIPT for short. I kind of need that slideshow. I'm here to bring awareness and hopefully some changes to our mosquito versus human situation. Everybody hates mosquitoes, so I'm not here to advocate for them, but for us and our generations and futures later. Big pollinator person over here. I'm also a gardener, I'm a beekeeper, I do all kinds of things outside, but most thing is I'm a community lover. So, I don't have my slides. I do, but y'all won't see them. So basically, the purpose of my presentation is there several residents have expressed concerns about the respiratory issues after citywide spraying and are pleading for alternatives. Children, our elderly, and our pets are all highly vulnerable. Those with asthma or other respiratory conditions are at a much higher risk, and our health shouldn't be compromised by some outdated methods. Bees, wasps, and butterflies contribute to local gardeners and our food supply, which steady decrease in all pollinators over the last decade due to climate as well as pesticides. I really wish y'all could see these slides because I worked really hard on them and they're so pretty. What the city is currently spraying, we're on Aqualor, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Aqualor is a chemical that contains synthetic pyrethroids such as permethrin. I'm not saying that right, permethrin. It's designed to kill adult mosquitoes on contact, It is applied via truck-mounted aerial spraying. The mosquitoes can develop a resistance to that though, making the spray ineffective over time. Let's see, and children, just to put that out there, children breathe more air per pound of body weight than adults do, so they are way more susceptible to those airborne toxins. The harmful effects of Aqualor: it's highly toxic to bees, butterflies, and other beneficial insects. Due to runoff, it can also be lethal to aquatic life, such as fish, frogs, and invertebrates. It can also be dangerous to cats, small mammals, and reptiles. Let's see, the harmful effects on human health: Aqualor can cause skin and eye irritation, as well as dizziness, nausea, and respiratory issues. Long-term exposure is linked to neurological and endocrine disruption. I have the link as well on the slide that takes you to the National Pesticide Information Center. It gives you those. So why spraying doesn't work long-term? Well, spraying only affects the adults that are present during their flighting at night. So they reinfest rapidly from nearby breeding sites. Non-target species are often more vulnerable to the spray than the mosquitoes are. And repeated spraying, the harmful biodiversity is weakened, and it weakens all of our ecosystems. So spraying only targets the flying adult mosquitoes. 90% of the mosquito populations are in the aquatic stages, which is eggs, larvae, pupal, and they remain completely unaffected by the stuff sprayed in the air. Let's see, the breeding sites, there are big, I didn't count them. Bird baths, plant saucers, gutters, ditches, old tires, buckets, but the biggest two, memorial flower vases and cemeteries. Like, we put our little flowers in there for our loved ones, and water gets in there during the rain, nobody's dumping those out. They just are horrible with mosquitoes. And then you got your pond, puddles, and rain collection systems. So we have our city codes and ordinances. I've listed them here. We got our stagnant bodies of water, wells, pools, cisterns, bodies or containers of water in which mosquitoes or other insects breed or are likely to breed, or which are so constructed, formed, conditioned, or situated as to endanger the public. And that's A. B, performing or allowing the accumulation of stagnant water on property owned or accumulated by any person, or permitting same to remain, or permitting holes or plans on the property where stagnant water may accumulate. I got these off of the city's website, so I apologize that they're not the up-to-date ones. I hope they are. Here's another one that says conditions that attract pests, rape, weeds, grass, carcasses, accumulations of manure, or other things which are likely to become breeding places for flies, mosquitoes, vermin, or other disease germs on the premises. So I have all that in there. I'm sad they're not up there. So our safer alternatives, we can all do our part, right? We can keep everything clean. We have monthly cleanups at the Seminole Arts Council. And just go for a walk. Walk around with a trash bag. You see a bunch of trash, pick it up. If you see something that's big and bulky that you can't get to, let your city council know, or go on to the citizen problem reporter and report it on there, and they can, I'm sure they'll get somebody over there to get it taken care of or get it addressed. So safer alternatives that work. So we got mosquito duck buckets. They contain a natural bacteria that targets the larvae. They're perfectly fine I could drink the water out of it, and I wouldn't, but we could. I could let my dog drink out of that water. It wouldn't hurt my dog, my cat. I could put it in ponds with my fish, and it's much safer. It's safe for humans, pets, fish, pollinators. It's just as simple as a bucket with a dunk and a lid, and the mosquitoes go in, lay their eggs, they die. It doesn't kill dragonflies. It doesn't kill the other beneficial bugs that we need to maintain the mosquito population. So that takes me into Things that we can do, like purple martin houses, the mosquito dunks is one. Purple martin houses, purple martins consume hundreds of flying insects daily, hundreds of mosquitoes per bird. So we can encourage healthy bird populations and bring in purple martin houses. We can do the same thing with bat boxes and dragonfly habitats. They're natural mosquito predators. It's low-cost, long-term mosquito control through habitat support. It's a couple houses, every so often would do a lot of work. So why we protect pollinators in our water? Pollinators are essential for 1 in 3 bites of food that we eat. Spraying disrupts the ecosystem and contaminates water throughout the runoff. Our request to the city council. I'll skip this part now. Suspend use of Aqualor for mosquito control. 2, adopt sustainable mosquito management plans. Public education on breeding prevention. Distribute dunk kits and build purple martin houses. 3, promote healthy habitat conservation for pollinators and natural predators. And in closing, let's partner for a healthy future. Pollinators do so much more than help grow us food. They support healthy ecosystems by enabling wild plants to reproduce, which provides habitat for other wildlife, maintains the biodiversity, and soil erosion. They're essential for plants used in medicines, clothes like cotton, and animal feeds. Pollinators can also help beautify our landscape, support cultural traditions, and contribute to clean water and healthy soil by sustaining native plant life. I thank you all for your time. I'm sorry the slideshow wasn't up there. But let's work together to protect our people, pollinators, and planet. I thank you so much for your time. Do you have any questions?
So you don't want to spray DDT?
No, we don't want to spray that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Shannon, do you have yours ready to go? Now we'll get the other side of it, the city staff for the mosquito spray.
Okay, first I just want to say thank you to Miranda. She's the first person we call when someone says they have a problem with honeybees in their house.
Call me.
Yeah. And a lot of the information that she gave you was the same information that I was going to give you. Since I couldn't get hers to work, and apparently nothing's working right now, we're having a comedy of errors over there. Sean's on vacation, so, yeah. So, the permethrin that we use is in 2 different types of mosquito spray, Aqualure and another one, and we've used both. Both of these, the chemical itself, permethrin, is a chemical based on chrysanthemums. So it is it is endorsed by the World Health Organization because it does limit the spread of different diseases that are carried by mosquitoes, and this includes in the United States, West Nile and Zika, and then malaria in other countries. But it's found in everything, well, not everything, it's found in a lot of things that people use and not think about. Lice control, permethrin is in there. It is in pre-coated mosquito netting clothing. LL Bean carries a full line of pre-coated clothing for people who go into different areas known for mosquitoes. It's also sprayed on airplanes that come in from other countries to port airports to decontaminate from different countries. A lot of the things, well, she mentioned a lot of the things I was going to talk about different ways we can do that would not be harmful to the bees. Bees, cats, and aquatic creatures are the 3 things that permethrin is not very friendly to. Some of the other things that I've found are using different essential oils in a diffuser, as long as you make sure that it's friendly to kids and pets, you can use it that way. The Purple Martin houses, bat houses, the bird population in general, they all eat mosquitoes, possums eat mosquitoes. We can do a lot, but the permethrin is the one thing that we have that we spray in the evenings to, as an adulticide that kills the mosquitoes so that we can help control the diseases that the mosquitoes spread.
Sharon, how many communities do this? How many roughly, percentage-wise?
Actually, we're the only community that I know of that still sprays. We get requests at least 2 a year for people outside of city limits or other communities that say, can you either loan us your rig or come spray our community for us? And we just can't, there's too much of a liability there, plus the cost of them.
Sharon, how effective is it? Is it effective? Does it work well? It seems like it just, out and then it's gone.
Well, like I said, it is an adulticide, and it does kill the adult mosquitoes, but then the larvae,
Yeah.
it depends on the hatch rate.
That's why you have to keep spraying.
Hmm?
That's why you have to keep spraying.
We try to keep our sprays down to every 30 days. That's the recommended time frame, is once every 30 days. And we keep enough on hand to spray during the summer months, especially the summer months when the mosquitoes that carry West Nile are most active.
What's the cost on that spray?
I budget $5,000 every year, but we use about half.
Is that a specific truck that only sprays that?
We have a rig that we can put on the back of a truck. We bought 6 years ago, we bought a
It's
new.
just a skid unit.
Yeah,
We slide it in and out of the.
it comes in and out so that the truck can be used for other things during the time that it's not spraying.
You have to have a license certification to spray that pesticide?
No, you do not.
What's the average blue martin or purple martin? What does an average erected house cost?
Mine cost about almost $200, and it holds,
If we lived in my neighborhood, what would it cost? Oh, I'm just saying, you might have a prettier blue martin.
No. no, that's a
Warehouse
Tractor
area.
Supply special.
$200.
And I have a guy willing to do workshops to build birdhouses as well. Like, he's a woodworker and builds birdhouses in town.
So I've done a little research on mosquitoes. They're not so bad. I mean, horrible, but they're not so bad. They too are pollinators, if you didn't know that. They feed animals. Without them, it disrupts, the ecosystem as well. Oklahoma doesn't have mosquitoes like I'm accustomed to in South Louisiana. It's a big deal if you know the mosquito man. Comes to your driveway. I would love to see something other than the pesticide sprayed, especially if we can get these houses built. If it's not, if we're only just touching the surface with the spray on, we probably don't need to spray it if it's not really doing a job. And I'd like to see the houses, the bat houses and the bird cages as well. Oh, man.
At the council's pleasure, we can suspend spraying for the summer or by month. You can make monthly decisions. You give us your instruction. We'll be glad to follow what you tell us.
I don't know if we need to stop until we have something put in place. You know what I mean? I mean, we don't have Blue Martin houses yet. And we don't have
Yeah.
Martin houses.
When is the first scheduled
spray
Last week and this week.
last week.
We have to wait till the conditions are right to be able to spray, and, with the rain we had last week, they continue it this week.
Yeah.
You say it kills bats too, then?
No, bats eat mosquitoes.
No, I thought you said that the spray's bad for bats.
No, not bats.
I thought that's what you said. Cats, okay.
Cats.
That's- yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah,
Probably no one hates mosquitoes more than I do.
I think I had bats on the brain.
They love me, and, my dad is old, or the information is old, but George Hutton was, ornithologist at OU. He did a study on purple martins, found that they weren't that effective for controlling mosquitoes. They didn't eat that many, but bats do. Bats, and bats don't live in as pretty a house as the purple martin, but they're night creatures, and mosquitoes come out at night. And anyway, making a transition from chemicals that, on some level, we all know that they're killing us. So, you know, chemicals just, that's the nature of them. If they kill an animal, they're not good for you. But you look at the trade-off. So I don't know what it would cost to do an education program or to support people putting up bat houses, but I think that that's probably the most effective alternative. Just, only reason I know this is because I hate mosquitoes and I knew George had.
Well, I would propose that you authorize me to build a bat cave for the city manager, and we can start there.
So you could say to the bat
Bat
cave, Jay.
cave. Okay, never mind, sorry.
Be a welcome environment for your neighborhood. Get in the back. Any other questions, comments?
I do have an information sheet if anybody wants to take one at the door, from the State Department of Health on ways that you can protect yourself.
Okay. And also, I think we had a request for that slideshow that Marina had. Maybe we'd find it, we could email it to the city council, that'd be great. So just send yours as well, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay. All right. All right, we're gonna move on to the public hearing for the city budget. Go ahead and open up our public hearing. Steve, you wanna give a rundown on all this?
Sure,
Is that all right?
love to, absolutely. It's one of my favorite subjects. I don't love it as much as Jay, but I can always talk budget. So first, I probably need to say thank you to the city council for the hours and hours of work that you guys put in the work sessions, trying to get us to this point. We feel like we've got a good budget ready for you guys to consider. I think we're at the point that we're asking the public if there's something in particular that you guys would love to see. I think we heard drainage is an issue. We've talked that a lot over the last several months, including the flood study that we have had in place for quite a while. But, you know, we don't have that many drainage areas that we're authorized to work in. Most of those areas that I see pictures of are private property, and we're not allowed to enter on those places. So, but in terms of the budget, the city's in good shape. We're pretty proud of where we have come. We were down a little over 2.5% in our sales taxes this year. Our use taxes, which is, I'm going to give a general description of the online sales, we get taxes off of those. Those close the gap some. So we ended up just under probably 2.5% down on our sales tax revenues. The water and sewer revenues remain strong. All of the rest of our revenues streams are pretty much level, if not slightly increased. We're, again, I think we're in great shape moving forward. I would like to say before I start getting into some specific numbers that the budget that we have put together has some contingencies in it. Specifically, on July the 8th, we will go to the voters and ask for a 1/8 penny sales tax that will help us pay for the sewer plant. And so we approach this budget as if that 1/8 penny sales tax would be approved. All right, so in the event that the voters turn down the 1/8 penny, we will come back and do budget modifications and/or change our plan of how we're going to pay for the sewer plant. So just keep in mind that this is with the big assumption that a sales tax will pass, the 1/8 penny sales tax on July the 8th. So let's go ahead and cover the budget summary. And the newspaper kind of covered parts of this. The total revenues in general fund are $15,834,415, and the total appropriations in our general fund will be $15,605,337. So we've got an excess of about $229,000 in the budget. We're expecting that over the next year. So our beginning fund balance on the general fund is $1,675,000, and the ending fund balance, if it all goes as projected, will be $1,904,433. I'll just kind of hit some highlights, and then as you guys wish, we can go back and drill down as deep as you care to. I know you've spent a lot of hours already doing that, but for the public's edification, if you care to do that, we can. In the Water and Sewer Fund, our Fund 22, the total revenue projections are $13,671,842, with the total appropriations of $13,460,730. So I want to point out that the transfers in, that is a way that we have always done it since I've been here, and it's really a strategic thing that we kind of make sure that our taxes and our revenue streams hit both the city council and the municipal authorities. And the reason that we do that is so that we get higher ratings in any bond issues that we do. It shows a much larger income. And obviously we disclose that, but still it shows that we have the wherewithal if we ever want to incur debt. So let's see. Jay, do you think I already mentioned the sales tax number on the second page of your budget summary. We're looking at the total projection of $2,343,782, and we're appropriating $1,512,500 of that. So we'll have an excess of $831,282. So our ending fund balance and the sales tax will be $2,826,282. Urban Renewal, I'll point out that Urban Renewal this year did the Main Street project. You'll note that we had a transfer in of $700,000 that the city council transferred into Urban Renewal to do our Main Street project. So far, it's turned out very good, in my opinion. And so we've got a few things left. The mid-block handicap accessible areas will be completed, and then, of course, the striping. And we've got a couple of other punch list items that some places aren't draining exactly like we would like them to, and we're addressing those. All right. So let's do some individual departments. I'm going now to your fund summary from the list, the departments. I'll just hit some of the highlights. The street department is going to be budgeted for $612,178. Our police department budget will be $1,334,783. Our fire and ambulance budget will be budgeted at $2,037,718. Library will be going in at $258,856. And then our general government, which is basically everything else, including electric, et cetera, is $1,686,277. And that's up about, I'm going to say, around $70,000. So we see that often. So with that, I'm going to push the pause. Oh, you know what? Let me, if you don't mind, for the council's sake, you'll recall that we had several plans on how we were going to pay for the sewer plant. And so one of the things was reduction in staff. And if you don't mind, I'd like to point out the line items on the budget, the general fund summary. So if you look on the 55, community services, you'll notice that the 2025, last year's budget was $461,000, and that's reduced this year going forward to $384,346. So that primarily is not renewing or hiring staff members that were in place last year. So then on the next page, we'll look at the 95 line item, water and sewer lines. We've had a floater in there for several years, and that floater, if I could describe it, hey, if we need him or her on the cemetery this week for extra mowing, we move that floater, they go there, or the sewer plant, or anywhere we can move that floater. But specifically, we've got $898,000, and this is also including Curtis Mooney's, who retired. We're not rehiring for that position. So last year, $898,268, and now on this year's budget, we're going in at $816,457. So roughly an $80,000 cut to that department. So those cuts were planned over the last several months as you guys were given strategies on how we're going to be paying for. If the eighth penny sales tax does not go through, we'll be back trying to develop a strategy to cut more staff and or raise other revenues and add, more than likely, since sales tax wouldn't be an option if it fails, we'll be looking at adding to sewer and water bills or trash service.
So one actual physical person was, or no, for
Yes,
the water
ma'am.
department, a floater was.
Yes,
let
the
go.
floater and Curtis Mooney's position.
But a person who was currently working that did not retire was let go,
Will be.
will be. What
It-
does that,
it-
what does that individual make per year, do you know? Do we know that individual's name? Does that
I'm not
individual
going to
know
be
that
able to
they're-
talk about
Yeah,
that
okay.
tonight.
But roughly, what does that individual make?
I'm going to say in the neighborhood of 27 to 29,000.
Whether tax passed or not, that individual will be cut.
Yes. if the budget approves. Now, we can start all over and not do that. Nothing is set in stone, and I should say that from the start. Tonight is, I mean, if you approve the budget, we'll go forward, but there's always a chance for us to not pass it tonight, as long as we send the state our budget by June 21st. Yeah, we have to get it to them on the 21st or sooner, but we're wide open until then, and even after we send the budget in, we can come back at the council's pleasure and do budget modifications.
So the budget is included with the CIP.
Yes, ma'am. The CIP is a part of the budget. For those that are listening, CIP, we throw it out there as an alphabet soup like everybody's supposed to know, because we've spent so many hours looking at these things, our eyes cross. CIP stands for Capital Improvement Program. So typically, if there's a specific street or a sewer line or a ditch that they want cleaned, the council will appropriate money in that specific project, and it becomes a capital improvement program, CIP project. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Cut.
Nope.
Nope, you're good. Nope, keep going.
So I jokingly, but seriously at the same time, Stu Phillips kind of trained us that anytime we pass a sales tax that, and to some degree Dan Hamilton, that we have to tell the public what we're going to do with that sales tax. And so quite often, the council doesn't have a big choice. I mean, they can decide, if, for example, if a sales tax says this quarter-cent sales tax is to be spent on streets, the council can't decide to, oh, well, we need to pay for a sewer plant, or we need to buy trucks for the fire department, because the voters specified and earmarked that money to go to that specific project. So do you guys, would you care to go through the capital improvement program, the CIP list, or no?
Now, I have a question, but.
Okay.
I mean, I would, and I would like to see something taken out and then give that individual, let them have their job. That's just my opinion. I'd like to see the welcome sign taken out and let that individual have their job. Probably his family.
Those are, Steve, you just want to go through what's on here, and then when we go to discuss, we can have those discussions, or how do you?
Yes, sir. You tell me, however you guys care to do it.
Get to the decision on the discussion part, you can give those, that makes sense.
Just, yeah, keep in mind, some of these are earmarked that are going to have to come out of specific sales tax that were only allowed to do public works projects or something like that, and not salaries. So, do you want me to read off the list, or is there anything specific?
No, good, okay. We don't have to. They're
Okay.
good with it.
Okay. Now, at this time, Mr. Mayor, if you guys don't have questions, you might invite the public to come and speak about what they would like to see the budget include or not include.
Do you have anybody that would like to speak? Go ahead. Probably go to the mic if you don't mind.
I know we want, that's the funding issue right now, that's the 9 years that we have to use to match, the 10% match. We lost that because we didn't do anything. So can we start putting something in the budget to do pieces at a time to prevent the flooding? If we can't do it all at one time, can we the opportunity for grants. And also, just from last month, apparently we need more code enforcement. It's absolutely crazy that we only have one, that we've turned over all the easements, and the city is not responsible now to take care of those easements, so the homeowners are. The code enforcement can't get to it to make the homeowners do it, because there's only one person. So I would like to see room for more code enforcement and something to go towards flooding. Not the whole thing, but just start to get something.
Anybody else? Okay. You have anything else you want to add before we close the public hearing?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing and move on to approvals and acceptances. Under bids, item one, consideration and possible action to approve as surplus a 2016 Chevrolet Tahoe, VIN number 6286, that has been deemed as a total loss by the city insurance company. We have to surplus these, they're not coming to get it? Roll call, please, Jake.
Trace Connor,
Yes.
Larry Church,
Yes.
Scott Rossman,
Yes.
Chris Anson,
Yes.
Jolene Doucette,
Yes.
Jeff Nance.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, moving on to resolutions. Consideration and possible action to approve resolution number 2025-05, a resolution adopting and approving the fiscal year 2025 to 2026 consolidated budget for the city of Seminole and its associated authorities and funds. So,
Yeah, I'd just like this young man, or whoever it's going to be, to keep their job. I believe at the April meeting, and I quote, "No one is going to lose their job," so I don't do math. So if maybe someone on this panel that does do math well, and there's a category to pull it from, so this young man can keep his job, that would be great.
Does he already know
No,
that he's not gonna have his job?
We
The person.
wouldn't have done
yeah,
that.
one of it's matter.
Okay. No, only reason I was curious is because, and these things are very delicate, was whether or not it was a performance issue or if it was a budget issue. I think that would be the first thing to.
Probably
to know.
best that I don't comment here
Okay.
on that. But if you guys tell me to keep the position, the performance piece of that is management's issue. We'll figure that out, one way or the other. Either he loses his job because he's not performing, but the position would be kept whole. Okay?
So the person would lose their job regardless, if it's a
Ooh.
could possibly performance issue, but you would keep,
I can't,
no, that's what I'm saying, this is why we don't get into personnel issues in here.
That's
Because you can't do that, but, my point was just if the position is being terminated for a performance issue and not necessarily a budget issue, and it just coincides with the fact that we can save money and not rehire for the spot, that's different.
Mhm.
So but he can't answer that in here.
Right, and we don't do personnel issues, and it was brought up during budget, which tells me that it is a budget issue. If it was a personnel issue, said person should have been gone by now. So,
Yep.
it's a budget issue.
Very-
Or you're masking it,
very well said.
but it's a budget issue, and I just,
No,
man, it's just.
trust me,
times are tight.
if you
I
guys
really
will
wanna
give
see
us the
whoever it
position,
is.
we want to keep it.
Yeah, I just really want to see whoever it is.
But-
Again, I don't do math, I don't pretend to do math, but if someone can figure out where that math is at,
I agree with her. We need to keep him. That's a bottle. I mean, he can do two jobs. Summertime, he can do this. Wintertime, he can do that.
Absolutely.
Okay?
I'm just
Do
trying to
we
get
pay
us.
do we pay overtime, or we keep somebody and we figure something else out to get rid of?
Would we have to pay overtime?
A city worker would have to go out and do that guy's job, because he was helping this department out at this time of the year, and this department out at that time of the year. You take that away, you gotta cover that with city employees. That means overtime.
But do you have to pay overtime to do that?
You're gonna have to, yeah.
got a
Just saying.
part-time worker doing it, he's not gonna go into overtime, but if you have to cover what he was doing for some reason, it will require overtime when you don't have a part-time person anymore.
If you're asking somebody who's already working 40 hours to do the same job, he can't get done in 40 hours, then
Right.
it's your overtime.
Well, if that's the case, I mean,
Yeah.
in my experience, that's not what I do.
Well, I would say that we run a very tight, we're operating on thin lines.
Yes,
And,
have been for a
and I
while.
would love to keep the position. However, right now, Jay, you better chime in here. Don't you leave me out here. We're on a,
Back to the back case.
it's a scale, okay? We got to pay for a sewer plant. And I've got to find a way to, or at least recommend to you all a way that this thing is going to balance. And forgive me, but cutting one of those positions was one of the ways that I was trying to bring us back into what I felt like was a balance. We can do things like not spend general fund money on things like welcome signs and things like that, but that's a long-term depletion of other things. So it was just a recommendation. If you guys choose to keep the position, I'm happy. But we're also going to not be able to do things like playground equipment in Chase Park or other things that you would want to see.
So part of the one plan that we did talk about at council was getting rid of the unnecessary positions, the 8-cent sales tax, and some on water and sewer.
Yes.
So are you considering this one of those positions that was
Yes.
supposed to be eliminated? So
Yes.
it's not eliminating an employee we're planning on keeping, it's one that was going to be eliminated as part of that plan? Is that what you're saying?
That's not what I
don't
understood.
understand the question. The elimination that's shown in this budget of the floater, quote unquote, is part of the payment for
Right, that's what I mean.
the sewer plant.
That was part of what we discussed, is that there were some
Yes.
employees that were going to lose their job.
Yes, some were not
We were
being,
eliminating those positions, so that was part of that particular plan on the screenshot, is what I'm
yes.
saying.
It's not an unneeded position, it's just, you're saying that's the position that you're going with. We can forget about the 8-cent tax and put one individual's position who makes an astronomical amount, but that's not what we're gonna do either. This individual's position is vital to the city of Seminole. There's not one single person that is with the city of Seminole that is not vital. Because if they weren't vital, then what is that department doing? Why do they have extra men? There are no extra men, there are no extra women that's working in any position here. Every single one of them is needed. They're all needed. I think it can come from something else. If right now we don't get a swing set, if that's what you want to throw out, then we don't get a swing set and this man gets to feed his family. Or a woman gets to feed their family.
But I think what you're saying is, this year's a swing set, what's next year? And then what's next year after that? And then what's next year after that?
Next year,
And figure out something else.
this individual has bills today.
Oh, I get
He
it.
has bills tomorrow also, so we can figure out next year,
Oh, I
and
think about
the next
this
payment.
job.
Can figure it out.
Well, there's another way to look at it, it was good while it lasted. But
Wasn't it?
things don't last, nothing lasts forever. And if you're on the management side of running a business, there's times come up all the while where you can't, keep the staff that you'd like to keep. And you can't afford the staff that you'd like to have. There's never enough money and there's never enough time.
You didn't want to give up your water bill.
That's
You
right.
want this man
I'm
to
not
give
giving
up his
it up.
job.
I'm not giving it up.
He can't feed his family, but you don't want to give up your water bill.
That's right.
Okay,
That's exactly right.
so we're clear.
Oh, well, we can be very clear on that, because if you can't afford it, you can't afford it.
You can't afford your water bill?
I can afford it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think
But
everyone
my
on this
water
panel
bill's not
can,
the question
and that's-
here.
And that's a decent amount of
My
money that
water
goes
bill's
back
not
to
the
the city.
question. The question is whether we can afford to maintain that position or any other position.
Absolutely, city.
You have to cut back sometimes. Sometimes you can have excess. Enjoy it while you can. If you can't, you can't. And, I don't plan on paying for water.
Is the position one that's being, say for instance, when the water sewer plant comes on board, is it something that we're reducing staff because we don't need that position anyway once it comes online, or is it something like that?
No.
Just, okay. Just curious.
How long has this position been part of the city?
3 years approximately. Would you say, Bate? Around 3, maybe 4. Every time I think it's 3, it's longer.
So it was a benefit at one point, I mean, to all of the departments that
Yeah.
needed a floater, but it's only been the last 3 years. So we've survived without it in the past.
Yes.
I don't know how well, but I guess we've survived. But we saw at one point we needed this person or a floater.
What did we decide our water bills were related to other communities our size? Or, I know we can't compare apples to apples because some of them have other utilities such as electric or something, but what did we decide our water bills were when comparing?
For communities 5 up and 5 down from our population, we're slightly above the median. And so I'm going to,
But
without
that
doing
wasn't
the
the case for a
calculus.
long time, correct?
I'm sorry?
That wasn't the case for a long time.
No,
We
no.
were well below.
No.
For a long time.
For a
And
long
for the
time, we
last
were
few
way
years, We were
under.
way below.
That's
So
correct.
had we been charging an appropriate amount of water all those years, we
Yes.
probably would have more money in the bank to pay for this sewer fund.
That's-
So basically, we're paying for what we should have been paying for all along.
That's probably
Just wanted to
accurate.
make an observation, that we kept water bills down as long as we could.
The only reason I said to keep it, guys, because I know Curtis retired. We're not replacing that that position. We moved everybody up. You're still missing a person in that department. You're still missing a person in that department. So any way you go around it, even though you're not gonna hire for Curtis's job, another person stepped up to do Curtis's job, you're still missing a person in that department. That's the only reason I said keep that guy, because he can help in that department, because now they're gonna be down a person. Technically, we got rid of 2 people. One retired, and we're letting one go. And then we had those 2, 3 other deals. The grant that ran out, that person's gone, the other person. We agreed on 3, now we're agreeing on 4 or 5. And that's where I'm confused. That's why I need clarification on that. Because I understand the sewer plant and all that, but we have a department that a man retired, everybody moved up, you're missing a person there. This guy doing over here for half the year and this guy over here, or if they need him over that department, can cover that extra person. That's the only reason I said that.
I'm
So, I mean, I'm
I'm
just
just an
saying.
employee. If
I
you
know, I
guys
mean,
tell me
I'm
to
just
save
asking the
him-
question because I looked at everything. So
Absolutely.
that's the only reason I said something, so I was just curious.
No, you're,
Well, in one of our meetings, when we were talking the capital improvements and not knowing where this is all gonna go, I did also mention that as far as all these I wouldn't say unnecessary, but some of these things that we can do without if we have to, that we put those off till later in the year. So we can go with not terminating that position right now.
absolutely.
And then if it comes, and then when we start looking and reevaluating where we're gonna have to put money to, and I know it's kicking the can down the road one more time, but that's what you tend to do when you're trying to save people's jobs.
Mhm.
So, if it comes down to it, I mean, this isn't a decision that has to be made at this very moment. If we have to eliminate a capital improvement project or projects, in 6 months, we can still do that. We don't have to spend all that, just because we sign up for this tonight doesn't mean we're gonna spend it all,
Yeah.
by the end of July. We're gonna have to approve those as they come in, and we're gonna have to select what we really want done first, I believe, and put off some of it to later
Well
in
said.
the year.
Yeah.
And make sure we are in a good position to come in to start paying these payments. I guess it would be, the next year.
Yeah.
Of course, all this is moot if the tax increase doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That's true. And it should be noted that the entire budget is contingent upon revenues coming in that will only happen in the future. We're only allowed to budget 100% of what we made in the prior year. So if we again have shortfalls, then we'll be making budget modifications during the year anyway, likely.
So if we had a banner year last year, it's possible that we could legally budget for more than we can afford.
Well, and
If we had a slim year last year, then we're probably budgeting for less than what we can expect. So if the tax thing doesn't go through, like I say, it's just moot. And hard decisions are just that.
Well, I like to think that we run a fairly tight ship, or we always try to do what's best with our money. However, we are looking at roughly a $30 million budget. If $27,000 is gonna break us, we're in serious trouble.
That's true.
I mean,
You don't know Jay Cox.
I'm just
I've
saying
tried to
that-
squeeze
I'm just
blood
saying
out of that turnip for.
We're gonna have to go through in a little more fine detail, what we can and can't do without.
Yes.
And I don't think it's all surrounds, personnel.
Okay.
But my thing was, if you needed to go for another reason, and we could do without the position, that was my only approach to that. I wasn't trying to insinuate or say anything else, I just wanted to know if there was more to it.
So what I hear, I think, is no reduction in force. We'll find another way through capital improvement reduction.
If that's what it comes to, yes.
I think so.
Yeah.
You'll make that adjustment?
Yes, sir.
So a motion would be to, if you choose, a motion would be to approve the budget as presented with the modification that no reduction in force for the existing, let's see, the existing the person that's currently employed. How about that?
Correct.
I'll make that motion.
Just that.
I'll
one,
second it.
Because you've got the other one that was the grant position, do we need to specify all that? The one that was a grant position, we're not filling back? And the ones that have been, no one's been in that position for a while, do we need to specify those? Because
She left in May, so I don't think Sharon, she's not considered currently employed, right?
okay.
It's just attrition.
Yeah, attrition through
Okay.
that.
I just make sure you did need to state that in the motion. So,
Motion on the floor. Second.
I second
I'm
it.
sorry, who was the second?
Scott.
Thank you.
All right, can we get a roll call, please, Jay?
Yes. Trace Connor,
Yes.
Larry Church,
Yes.
Scott Rossman,
Yes.
Chris Anson,
Yes.
Jolene Doucette,
Yes.
Jeff Nance.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, moving on to current business. Consideration and possible action to approve the contract renewal for fiscal year 2025 to 2026 with New Age Project Incorporation, the use of the Heritage House. No issues from staff with them?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Get that, Jay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what a roll call, please.
Trace Connor.
Yes.
Larry Church.
Yes.
Scott Rossman.
Yes.
Chris Anson,
Yes.
Jolene Doucette,
Yes.
Jeff Nance.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, item 4, consideration and possible action to approve acceptance of EPA grant number 02F65001 for $4,351,281 for a new water tower. Pretty nice.
Where does that go at?
That is going to be located behind Seminole State College, just north of the new hotel. I say just north. It's going to be, if you've driven up behind the housing addition where the new duplexes are going, it'll be just behind that.
And that's in our, or it's not?
No, that's in our-
That's us.
district, it's not-
It's in our
It's
district.
not part of that?
No.
Okay.
Motion to approve?
Second. Roll call, please, Jake.
Trace Connor,
Yes.
Larry Church,
Yes.
Scott Rossman,
Yes.
Chris Hansen,
Yes.
Jolene Doucette,
Yes.
Jeff Nance.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, moving on to remarks and inquiries of mayor and council members, all that you guys go first. Mr. Larry?
Well, I don't know. You guys all have professions other than mine, and you're good at it. And we're lucky to have y'all here. I've spent my last 50 years looking at people. And a couple of things that I think that we don't manage well as humans is fear and anger. We fear what we don't understand, and we get mad at people who disagree with us. And fortunately, we're able to come together here and talk among ourselves with different opinions and make good decisions, and I appreciate that. Appreciate the open discussion. Just remember that love is wise and hatred is foolish. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All right, moving on to Ward 2. We have Jolene Doucette. Anyone want to hear?
Yay. I really want to give a shout out to Baker and his crew. They're on those streets more than I am, looking at the water and trying to figure it out. Hernandez, I've sent Baker several, messages about just what the community's saying, like, we see you, we appreciate you. There's a difference with the work that's been done, and it's a long way to go, and if I had a solution to that problem, I'd be doing something else. I'd be figuring out everybody's solutions on drainage, but I just appreciate, I appreciate it so much that it's being looked at and dealt with as best that they can, so that's just about it. I love my little War II, and there's some feisty firecrackers over there, and they're loving the direction that the city is going right now, so.
All right. Thank you. Ward 3, Scott Rossman.
I just want to give a shout out to the Arts Council. They had a bingo the other night. They do it every second Saturday of the month. This was the cheesiest prize I ever had. I've seen them a lot, but it was fun. Like one guy got a big old thing of toilet paper. I won a bag of charcoal. No lady won a watermelon. It was fun. Spent 3.5 hours playing bingo, and it was fun. And they do it, like I said, in next month, it's gonna be a dad's deal. Open mic, but you don't have to do nothing. You just show up, they're gonna barbecue and give away gifts and stuff. So, yeah.
Cool.
Like I said, Corey, no. But, yeah. Appreciate it.
Mr. Jeff Nance.
Just want to tell everybody I'm grateful for being here. I appreciate you guys allowing me to be here. It's my honor. And I would like to thank whoever did the street in front by our church. Thank you. Baker, I'll give you credit for it. I forgot if you did it or not. But I appreciate that. And I was just doing U-turns on Main Street just because I love it. Just because I love it. I just want to tell you all how much I appreciate you guys allowing me to sit here and do this. And thank you for, I don't know whose job we saved, but thank you guys for that. I appreciate it. I know $27,000 is not a lot of money to make, so it'd be hard to, I don't know what their financial situation is, but making $27,000, that's a lot of money to you when you lose it. So thank you guys. I appreciate y'all. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome. All right, Chris Hansen.
Well, I want to also thank everybody who came out tonight. Thank the city staff for their work on the budget. I want to apologize to Mr. Branham for not getting back with him. It's been a month, and I should have called you the minute I saw the message. Instead, it got away from me. I thought about you today because I saw your request on Facebook. But I apologize. I should have called you back instantly, and it's one of those deals. I saw it, I was either at work or something, and thought, I'll need to get back to that later, and I didn't do it in any way. I apologize. I'm sorry.
All right. Trace Connor.
Same as Will, Jay. I've known you for a long time. I didn't realize I even missed anything, but I know we've had some discussion before, and I will get you my phone number where we won't have to do email. But we had a big turnout at our little boom at the golf course this weekend, actually Saturday, Sunday. And we also had a Friday event. Several showed up there too. Had over 51 teams, two-man, so over 100 and something people. Got to feed them, got to enjoy a lot of community involvement. A lot of people out there enjoyed their time. Course is looking great. If you haven't been out there, you don't play golf, I still recommend you go out there and take a look at it. It's coming along nicely. Thanks to the city and staff for going through all this budget and everything else you do. And Mr. Byram too. We couldn't do it without you some days. Thank you.
I'll second that. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you. Something else, Jay called me and I had to call him back, but I had a conversation with you over a dish of ice cream at O'Connor. You weren't there, but I called you back and it was a good conversation according to me, so. But, thanks for coming, by the way, we appreciate it. Few things, people have already, commented on the roads, they look awesome. I've turned on Main Street tonight, I thought, oh man, this is not even, it obviously doesn't feel the same, but it's great. So, yeah, I didn't do what he did. I didn't run the Indy 500 on the Main Street, but anyway, something else, if you guys have not seen it on Facebook, is the Sunset Market. I don't know why my wife feels to be a glutton for punishment, but she is. And so that's something new. They're just trying to start up with just local vendors and local things in town. It's just gonna be from Friday night to about 5 to 8 at the Wellness Center parking lot. So if you guys see anyone parking on that grass, you come find me because they are not supposed to be there, by the way. So that's probably gonna be my patrol, is to keep people off the grass that night, so. But anyway. We had a really good training.
Oh, that's good.
That was, the municipal league does a really good training. It's really good to get a refresher course after that. I think it was 6 or 7 years ago that I went, so that was great to go to that, so. But that's about all I have, so. Mr. Steve.
Some of us didn't enjoy the golf tournament as much as Trace because we didn't win. Trace, on the other hand, walked away with all the prize money that should have been mine.
Just some.
But you got to let the boss win, right? So,
Let the judge win.
hey, special thanks to Sam Stanfield back here on the board with Sean out of place. It's a delight to be able to have staff that jumps in and helps each other. So thank you, Sam. What can you say about Main Street? It looks amazing. Thank you guys for appropriating the money for us to help our community become more and more progressive. So the 2A baseball championship went off wonderfully. We had a bunch of jam-packed restaurants and everybody was selling out of food, so we loved it. My understanding is that the alcohol on Sunday passed tonight, so now our Texas fans that are visiting the baseball complex will now be able to enjoy Cazadores. I think there was a mini riot down there when they weren't allowed to buy a beer with their Mexican food. So thank you again for all the work that you guys put in on this budget. It's not easy, and it's not a lot of fun most of the time. So thank you guys for the hours that you put in. Again, I'll remind you, July the 8th is a very important date for our community. We need for everybody to get out and vote on July the 8th for the sales tax, 1/8 penny sales tax to pay for our sewer plant.
Yes, sir.
That's all I have.
All right. City Attorney Brad Carter.
Shout out to Susie.
Yeah.
So, if you don't know what Susie does, I work with her daily, and she prepares dockets every week, trial dockets and arraignment dockets. She processes every complaint to place on the docket. She sends out notices, she coordinates witnesses, collects payments, just everything. and you have no idea, that's a huge job. She's very competent in what she does. So just want to tell you, that's, a lot of people don't really understand what's done in there, so. So you're going to get an email, I take it, with the presentation. Do not reply all, okay? So I have to send you a nastygram. So do not hit reply all. Yeah, so you'll get that, and there's actually no need to reply. So you'll get that and avoid any issues there. Finally, if you didn't know what you did today, you've complied with the Oklahoma Municipal Budget Act. And, you know, you don't think about that, but there's a statute that says this is what you're supposed to do as a city council. You have a budget summary. You coordinate with your chief executive officer, who provides you a list or the information about your revenues for the preceding year and obviously your expenses. And you take that and you put it together for this upcoming year. And you can do what you did, look at projected income, but you've done that, and you're required by Oklahoma law mandate to balance your budget. You cannot exceed those revenues. So you've done that. Just know that throughout the year, relying on your chief executive officer and your city clerk, that there may be some harder decisions to come down later as you fine tune that, because at the end of this time next year, you can't exceed it. So I just point that out for the public too. That's how this works. So, you know, all the prior planning that you do with those budget sessions it really comes to fruition here. And so anyway, you did a good job. We always do. You got good leadership. So that's all I had to say, and I'll get with Jay on those written complaints, because there's a mechanism. If you know Jay, he's not gonna let you two off the hook, so you might as well get ready and get ready for taking care of his problems.
I do have one question that just came to mind, though, about the budget, and I know that we've already passed it, but since we voted to accept that grant in this year, should we have not put the 700,000 on this year instead of next year? Capital improvements?
I don't think so.
Wasn't
Which
it the match-
grant?
Wasn't it the match for the 700?
Are we talking about the water tower?
Yeah.
No,
Just
the
curious.
expenditure will happen and the
We'll have it next year,
contracting will
so it's not
happen
when we
next
commit
year.
it, it's when we spend it. Okay.
Yeah, the encumbrance will happen in the
That's when
next,
you guys have the answer.
yeah.
But I want
That's
to
all
also
I've got.
clarify that
Except
Jay's the one who
executive
gave us
session.
the numbers, not the chief executive officer.
One other thing, I
that one more time.
forgot to mention, so often I take her for granted, the most important person at City Hall who knows everything is LaDonna Van Landingham. If you could just give her a round of applause, because she's earned every bit.
All right. Okay, we have an executive session